something that always surprises and mystifies me when I do talk to people on the far left about what they believe in is how quickly they will resort to, mind games and bully tactics and name calling and accusations in order to maintain their point of view and to get their point of view across. And, very rarely do I see them presenting real evidence or real logical arguments or statistics in their favor. And I think the reason they do this is precisely because they have no evidence. They can't support their arguments because any appeal to history will reveal how messed up their position is, how ill-founded, how ill-considered. And yet if they want to maintain it, and if they're stubborn, they will, regardless of whether you're actually right or wrong. Rather than do that, they have to resort to these bully tactics. They have to play dirty, because that's the only chance they have at winning. So they'll do the thing of accusing you of being cruel and selfish for, not wanting to agree with them, when the truth is that they have an indefensible position. They essentially want to be handed free money for doing nothing. And certainly the argument can be made, well, no, they don't really want to do nothing. They actually want people to work. They just don't want them to do it for money. The problem is, everywhere you could ever go in world history will show you this system just doesn't work, that people will not work for free, and that people do actually want to be paid for work. And, it's very easy for you to look through, through history and see that the most successful societies are typically ones where they have democracy and not communism, where they actually have access to, I would say, the best of both worlds in terms of the right and the left. And, I think because we have such a deeply polarized society that keeps telling each other cultural narratives instead of having real conversations, people have strong emotional attachments to their positions, even if those positions are indefensible. And the fact is that it is truly selfish to want to be paid to do nothing. It is selfish. And it is selfish to expect, I can understand their frustrations with the unemployment system precisely because it assumes that you don't want to work. But it has to treat you that way, because there's no other way to weed out the door bludgers. There's no other way. And the fact is that they are a massive glut on the system. Somebody doesn't have to be that much of a door bludger to chew up massive amounts of money per year. No, not if they can keep asking for it and have no consequences. And the truth is that you aren't selfish to question the concept of Marxism. You're not, because it's a very reasonable set of questions to ask. Are people really better off simply being handed money? The historical answer, the answer that we have evidence towards, is no. People are typically better off being paid for their work. Does that mean we should not help the needy? No, we absolutely should. But again, it shouldn't just be through blind handouts. It should be through rehabilitation programs, through education, through training, through, housing, through food and resources. Services that improve their quality in life and actually teach them the correct way to live so that they don't end up back on the street doing the same things that landed them there in the first place. If you follow my social media, you know that I'm involved in a lot of charity work. I'm not opposed to helping people for free. I'm fine with that. But the reason I'm so fine with it is actually because each of those charities tell you where the money is going. They actually tell you what they're accomplishing for people. They're not just throwing money at the problem and then leaving it be. They're actually spending the money judiciously, which is not a guarantee that Marxism ever offers. What they propose is to simply hand people money whether they have financial management skills or not. That's not an answer. People need to be taught these skills. And when I say these things, it might sound like I'm coming from the position of the rich kid and that I've never had to work a day in my life. That's not true. I've had to work in horrible jobs. And there are times when people have given me handouts. Did those handouts help me? Not really. The help was very short-lived, and typically I made terrible financial decisions with those resources because I didn't have the training I needed to handle it well. So am I saying, I'm not even unilaterally opposed to giving people money when they are in trouble. In fact, I'm in favor of it. But if you just do that without actually making sure that they're spending it well, without giving them the training they need to manage their finances well, it's irresponsible. It's like handing candy to a baby or drugs to an addict. It's not going to actually make society better. Everything will remain the same and possibly get worse, because if you keep handing people money to do nothing, eventually your economy has to collapse because you're not putting anything out. And you might say, well, but some of the people who promote Marxism seem to be very clever people who seem to be very educated. Why don't you listen to them? Even highly educated people can be wrong. They can be mistaken. And even very clever people can have agendas. We know very well that Charles Manson probably was highly intelligent if he was able to manipulate so many people. Does that mean that he was right in getting them to murder all those people that did happen? No, that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay. It still happened, and it's still wrong. In just the same way, just because somebody makes the claim and appearance of being cleverer than you, it doesn't mean that you're obligated to adopt all of their same positions. You still have a responsibility to think for yourself with the things you know, and to make your own research, and to really, really take the time to think things through. Am I saying that everyone should adopt the same positions as me? No, I could be wrong. I could be I'm definitely fallible. But the thing that I know from my own life is that when I was being paid for my work instead of just being given handouts, I was happier. I was happier to be earning my own money. And, having lived so much on handouts as I have without anyone really teaching me proper financial management skills, I'm disappointed in my life, and I'm disappointed in myself. I wish I were, I wish I had been smarter when I made those previous decisions, and I have a lot of regret, because, and I'm not a unique case. If you look up what typically happens when people win the lottery, it's the same problem. They just because they have the money, it doesn't mean they're going to go on to be wealthy for the rest of their lives. They typically manage it very poorly and end up in poverty very quickly. Well, maybe not poverty, but sometimes worse than before they had the lottery winnings, because they didn't know how to spend it the right way. So, I'm not unilaterally opposed to even the concept of universal basic income. What I am opposed to is the idea of just doing that, and not actually starting programs that will make sure that people know how to use the money well. That's what I think.